Cool Hand Luke. I actually think, because it's kind of officially, I didn't realize this, I didn't know it was kind of officially Stuart Rosenberg's first movie. I think it's one of the great directorial debuts of all time. It's fantastic, and he really kind of never did that level of work again. And he talks about it. I read interviews where he talks about it. Well, he goes, that was my one, and then I got assignments and everything was going great, but that was the one that I knew I had it. And like every shot is directed just to a fairly well.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I will say one thing. What Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is Cool Hand Luke. And I didn't know it before until this year, but it is obvious. It's the exact same movie. I mean, it's the exact same diagram of the story almost. It's just, crazy people as opposed to convicts. But almost every aspect about it's the exact same story. Actually, they were both smashes. I got a couple Oscars, actually.
They got George Kennedy.
But as far as I'm concerned,
which is the better movie?
I like Cool Hand Luke.
I'm voting that too.
Number 9 is my favorite, I guess on here, my favorite directorial debut, even though he did a cheapy British movie he doesn't like to talk about, on this list is Edgar Wright's Shaun of the Dead. This was my favorite movie of that year. I saw it. I thought it was really funny. I loved how much he loved the Romero universe that he recreated, especially after all this running zombie stuff started happening. It was great to see it, back in the original world. But one of the things that I thought was, I think the script is really terrific. I think it's got a lot of lines that it's one of the more quotable films on this list. I quote certain lines. I still say the line, "But dogs can look up." But the idea, though, and they're adamant about it in the movie, and it's there, is it's not a spoof of zombie movies. It's a real zombie movie. It's just a really funny zombie movie. And I appreciate the distinction. Yeah, but I would say, especially in a situation where I'm trying to think, what is iconic to me and what is memorable to me? All right, rather than trying to match wits with the Arthur Crims of the world. All right, it's these experiences. But that's putting Shaun of the Dead down to me. I'm saying it literally was my favorite movie of that year. But in just sitting on that couch and making this list, which for our latecomers, the idea was I didn't look up anything. I literally picked 20 movies straight from my brain without if I couldn't remember it, then it doesn't make it. It had to be memorable. And these are the memorable ones. And I think there's a big thing about the filmmaking. Most of them have aggressive filmmaking. And so I'm impressed by that. But yeah, it's a good time is memorable. Thunderbolt and Lightfoot is, to me, it's a terrific road movie. It's just a terrific 70s style action movie. And it catches you unawares by the ambitiousness of his landscapes and of his camera and of his compositions. Because you kind of just, I think at the time, people just expected to be a good action film from Clint Eastwood. And they expected a movie that was similar to what the TV spots looked like. And then you see, oh no, there's actually more ambition involved in this, and the way the landscapes are filmed, the way, whether it's Colorado or Montana, wherever most of the thing is taking place in, is shot. It's just shot very memorably, and but it also has that kind of hip buddy comedy, that hip heist film, and the kind of hip 70s kind of flavor. Yeah, I saw it the day it was released. I'm sure I saw it that Friday because I was waiting for it because I read the Fangoria cover that had Ash with the chainsaw on it, and Stephen King. I have just seen the scariest movie of this decade or whatever, because it had played at MeFed or something. That was the news about it. There would be, movies like The Dorm That Dripped Blood or something would get coverage in Fangoria, but they wouldn't go apeshit over it. This they went apeshit over. I think I'd read an interview with Raimi and Tappert before I even saw the movie. So I saw it the day it opened. Boom, and the doors fly off and everything. There was also something else about Evil Dead that made it also kind of particularly cool was, you had to get it. Not everyone could get it. It was cheap. You had to be able to not just look beyond that, you had to embrace that. And also, it is scary, but there is a really weird sense of humor that if you're not in line with it, you're going to think, oh, that's just a piece of junk. Hi, this is Quentin Tarantino,
and you're watching Tarantino Takes Over Weekend on Sky TV. Now, the movie coming up next is the Coen Brothers film Blood Simple. Now, one of the things about that movie was it was a very influential movie to me before I'd ever made a movie. And before Blood Simple, I think movies along those lines for other people in my generation or a little bit above me would be stuff like She's Gotta Have It, or Jim Jarmusch's Stranger Than Paradise, or Steven Soderbergh's Sex, Lies, and Videotape.
Yeah, I mean, the one,
it was like
the Sex, Lies, and Videotape was sort of like the Seattle band that broke, all right? But I was already looking at Blood Simple was my in.
Yeah.
That's a great movie.
Was my in, all right? Where okay, it's an artistic movie. It's arty. It's funny. It can play the art houses. It can play the art house circuit. But there's a genre base to it.
Yeah.
There's a genre base. It's like it's a thriller. It's a film noir-y kind of thriller done in a certain kind of way. But it's a genre base. Yeah, I go, that's the way you do an art film. You do it, you make it a genre-based art film. Because it's entertaining.
Usually there's some movie that comes out, usually in the independent circles, that will inspire you as a filmmaker to make you want to do something like that, and makes it seem that it's possible to do something. But to me, the one that really knocked it out of the park, that bam, I realized that I could maybe do something like that, was Blood Simple. It's a really fun movie, but the thing that I liked the most about it was the fact that I always noticed that when an art film came out from independent circles that it actually had a genre base, that those are the ones I always preferred, even like when it comes to like the Truffaut films or the Godard movies. The ones that they were kind of jumping off from a genre base were the ones that I always found the most fun. And when I saw Blood Simple, I thought it was terrific, and that literally was my intention for Reservoir Dogs. I kept bringing it up all the time, because I wanted to be a success like Blood Simple. I wanted to be written about the way Blood Simple was. I wanted to be, ubiquitous in the newspapers and the ads and everything the way Blood Simple was. And it was, so it was really great. So without any further ado, Joel and Ethan Coen's Blood Simple. Enjoy.
You're listening to the Video Archives podcast, starring Quentin Tarantino. And I will now give a plot synopsis of the film by reading the back of the United Home Video box.
always the best way to get a glean on the film.
Right on. In the mid-21st century, mankind has reached a point in its technological advances to enable colonization of the far reaches of the universe. Dark Star is a futuristic scout ship traveling far in advance of colony ships. Armed with exponential thermostellar bombs, it prowls the unstable planets. But there's one obstacle that its crew members did not count on. One of the ship's thinking and talking bombs is lodged in the bay, threatening to destroy the entire ship and crew! Exclamation mark. John Halloween Carpenter and Dan Alien O'Bannon combine their writing, creative, and technical talents to bring you this thrilling and extraordinary science fiction parody. That's the only parody. The word parody is the only clue that the film is a comedy.
Yeah.
91 minutes, 1971, color, and the tape number in the science fiction section is 199. Dark Star started off as a student film that was being done at USC, directed by John Carpenter and pretty much done in collaboration with a fellow student, Dan O'Bannon, who wrote the script with Carpenter, was the production designer, did all the special effects, edited the movie, and is the lead of the film.
Yeah.
So it truly, in every way, shape, and form, it can be called a Carpenter-Dan O'Bannon film. It is a complete joint effort of these two men together. The only time they will ever work together, and it's understandable, but also sad at the same time, because it was a magnificent collaboration. Yeah, a lower class, working class, all right, inside of space travel. Yeah. Not everybody like the Enterprise. Well, it's like, one of the things that was interesting, and I'll talk about when I talk about the film, watching it with you, I saw it once when it came out, and I hadn't seen it since. So it was funny watching it with you, because I remember, even from being a little kid, I remember different elements of it. But I was really kind of seeing it for the first time, with the exception of these moments.
When we watched it together.
Yeah, when we watched it together.
Yeah.
But I could tell you had seen it like
10 times. You were watching the way we would watch Evil Dead 2 with somebody who's never seen Evil Dead 2 before.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but Dark Star really is a shining jewel. Also, at the same time, I think this seems to be an answer to 2001, an anti-2001. I think there's also a criticism of 2001. A criticism of the suits, a criticism of the 60s, middle-age, middle-classness, a criticism of the antiseptic quality of the lack of humanity that is supposedly all part of space travel in movies. This is bringing life and piss and shit and cum into the space world. Literally, in the case of the toilet paper, which is an issue in the movie. Yeah, he's like the loading dock. I've completely forgot about this aspect when I watched the movie again. Where I went, what? Pinback isn't Pinback? Well, in a strange way, everybody else has just gotten disillusioned.
Yeah.
Or spaced out, like the guy who's just basically taking bong hits, all right? But in a weird way, it's like Pinback is the one who is like grown into his character. He's grown into his responsibilities while everyone else is forgetting theirs.
Yeah.
I think since they paid for the movie themselves, I'm sure it wasn't more than $6,000 or something like that. But it's always just mentioned in the entire budget, which was $40,000.
Yeah.
Which is just mind-blowing. But Dan O'Bannon did the special effects.
Yeah.
He is the one responsible for the special effects. He marshaled all those talents.
Oh, for sure.
This is his movie when it comes to special effects. I was not there was a name I knew. I was not a huge fan of Dan O'Bannon. I always liked everybody else he collaborated with more than him. How dare you make the next Night of the Living Dead sequel the same year that George Romero is doing his sacrilege?
Now,
like I feel the same way you do, except I didn't come to it till this week.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed not liking Dan, and I've enjoyed slagging him off. And now I feel guilty. Well, I'm sure if you put it on when I was in, like, oh God, Dark Star.
Yeah. Do you have to?
Okay, whatever. Yeah, it was considered an absolute cult film classic, but by 78,
yeah, for sure,
it's absolutely a cult film classic. He's the one talking it down more than anything else. He even said recently to the effect, well, I don't really respond to it because I see its student film origins. I see very little student film origins. To me, it just looks like a good science fiction movie. I know some of the effects have been done cheaply. I wouldn't know that from just necessarily watching it. I don't think, hey, look, I see cleverness going on. I see cleverness up the wazoo, but I don't think, isn't this charm? It's full of charm. It exists on charm. That's all it is charm. But there's also craftsmanship there. I don't see, look at these cool kids that did this really neat thing with the little bit they had. Especially when I was a kid and I saw it, I didn't like it. And I'll go into that in a second. But it looked like a real science fiction movie. I had no question about the look of it, the special effects, the spaceship sets. I mean, everything was, I could watch it today having made movies and I would not know it was made for $40,000. I never would have guessed. I would not know anything about the student film origin of it. It's just a fucking legitimate piece of work in every way, shape, or form. Well, he looks at it and goes, okay, those are ice trays. Those are ice cube trays that I'm shining light through. So he can only see the ice cube trays. Yeah. He can only see the muffin tins. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you my history with Dark Star, where I saw it in 74 when it came out. I saw it in Marina Del Rey, UA. I hated it in 74 when I saw it. So you were 9, I was probably 11. Mm-hmm. I hated it. And I'll tell you why I hated it is because I knew fuck all about it other than the TV spots that Jack Harris had blanketed afternoon television with. So I saw the TV spots a bunch of times and looked like a really groovy space movie to me. I go, wow, I can't wait to see this. And so that weekend came about and I went and saw it. Okay, so this is, to say the least, this is before Star Wars. Okay, so what did I want? Well, I will say that I do think the TV spots were misleading. Okay, the TV spots makes you think that it's like a Star Trek-y Buck Rogers kind of thing. Not all the dare doing, but it just looks like a real space movie. And they don't show you any, they don't give you a hint of the counterculture aspect of it, and they don't give you the gonzo anti-establishment quality of it. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking it's just a straight ahead science fiction movie. And if the movie they had played had been Luigi Cozzi's Star Crash, I would have thought okay, this is it, man. Oh, this is exactly what I wanted to see. If I had seen Star Crash when I went and saw Dark Star, I would have been completely satisfied.
Yeah.
That would have been exactly what I wanted. That would have been exactly what the TV spot asked for. That's what I wanted to see Star Crash way before it was ever made when I went and see Dark Star.